Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something really vital for your professional life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're looking at how to speak with authority in English, getting your point across strongly, but without sounding aggressive.
It's a tricky balance.
It really is. And our mission, like always, is to sift through your sources, articles, research notes, all that stuff, and pull out the absolute gold.
The key nuggets of knowledge.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut. You get to be really well informed, pick up some surprising facts, and crucially, get insights you can use, right away.
And it's such a nuanced area, isn't it? Because, in so many global workplaces today, confidence is key.
You have to sound confident to be taken seriously.
Right. But then there's this paradox, especially in English. If you're too direct, it can just come across as rude, abrasive even.
Definitely. Finding that sweet spot is everything.
It really is the trick.
And there's actually some solid evidence in your sources that shows just how important this is.
Oh, yeah. What did you find?
Well, there's this University of Pennsylvania study. It found that professionals who use language that's both confident and polite, well, they're 34% more likely to get promoted.
Wow, 34%.
Yeah.
That's not trivial.
Not at all. That number alone basically answers the question, why should I care?
Right.
It directly impacts your career.
Absolutely. It's a direct link. How you communicate, how you come across. It's not just about being heard in the moment. It's about moving forward, advancing.
So it makes you wonder, what's the actual technique here? How do we develop that voice,
Right.
Powerful but still respectful?
Yeah, how do you do it?
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's look at the words themselves. Your sources have some great, really actionable examples.
Like specific phrases.
Exactly. So instead of something really blunt, maybe even a bit aggressive like, you need to fix this.
Yeah, that can sound accusatory.
Right. Try something like, let's make sure this gets corrected by tomorrow. See the difference.
It shifts it. It goes from like a direct order, maybe blaming someone,
Yeah.
to more like, we're in this together.
Yeah.
Shared responsibility. It's invitational language.
Invitational language. I like that. It makes the other person feel part of the solution, not the problem.
Exactly. It leverages their sense of agency instead of, making them defensive.
Okay, what about disagreements? It's easy to sound aggressive there instead of just flat out, you're wrong.
Which tends to shut down conversation immediately.
Totally. You could pivot, maybe something like, I see it a little differently. Here's my perspective.
That's a great example. It uses what some call strategic ambiguity.
Yeah.
It softens the blow without you backing down from your point.
Strategic ambiguity. Interesting. So it's not about being unclear. It's about being intentionally polite about your clarity?
Precisely. You're still making your point, just skillfully.
Okay, and commands, like telling someone what to do instead of just do this, which can sound pretty bossy.
Yeah. Nobody likes being ordered around.
A more authoritative, but still collaborative way could be, here's what I recommend.
That feels much more like guidance, doesn't it? Offering expertise rather than just giving orders.
Yeah. And building on that, your sources mention something subtle but really powerful. Modal verbs?
Ah, yes, the softeners. Like should, might, could.
Exactly. They're great for what's called hedging, apparently. They soften things without making you sound weak or unsure.
Right. So like instead of we must revise the timeline, which sounds final.
You could say, maybe we should consider revising the timeline, or just, we should consider.
Exactly. We should consider revising the timeline. It sounds smart, it's clear, but it's polite. It opens the door for discussion.
Doesn't shut it down.
Right.
But, it's not just the words, is it? That's a huge point in your sources. Body language and tone are absolutely critical.
Oh, massively so. You can have the most perfectly crafted, respectful sentence. But if your tone is harsh, or your arms are crossed, or you're not making eye contact,
the whole message gets skewed. It feels aggressive anyway.
It totally contradicts the words. I remember this one time, a colleague said, yeah, I totally agree with you.
Okay.
But the tone was completely flat, monotone, and their arms were folded tight.
Ooh, how did that feel?
Honestly, it created this immediate sense of distrust. Like, do you really agree with me? Your body is basically shouting no.
It's amazing how powerful that nonverbal stuff is. It's always communicating, isn't it? Maybe even louder than your voice sometimes.
Definitely. It's often overlooked.
So for you listening, what does this mean practically? Well, the advice is to work on a steady vocal tone. Use appropriate smiling, not fake, but genuine warmth.
And open gestures. Palms slightly up, not pointing fingers, not crossing your arms.
Right. It projects confidence, but it's an open, non-threatening confidence. It signals, I'm here to partner with you, not dominate you.
It creates an aura of collaboration.
And this isn't just theory. Your sources had a really great story about someone named Marcos from Brazil.
Ah, yes, Marcos. Great example. Brilliant engineer, gets promoted to team lead at a global tech company.
So, smart guy, good ideas.
Fantastic ideas. But he really struggled in meetings. He kept getting talked over, interrupted, couldn't get his points heard.
That must have been incredibly frustrating, having the answers but not being able to, get them out there.
Hugely. So he decided to focus on learning some specific phrases. Really simple stuff, actually.
Like what?
Things like, when he was interrupted, he learned to say calmly, "Let me just finish this thought, and then I'd love your input."
Nice. Polite but firm.
Exactly. Or if you want to jump in, instead of just talking over someone, he'd say, "I'd like to add something here, may I?"
Asking for permission, but confidently.
Right. And you know what? It sounds almost too simple.
But did it work?
It was transformative for him. Within just a few weeks of using these consistently, people started actually listening, pausing, letting him speak.
Wow.
And the result? He started getting invited to lead bigger meetings, more important projects.
That's fantastic. It just shows how these tiny adjustments in how you say things can have such a massive real-world impact.
Huge impact on his career trajectory. It's a perfect illustration.
Okay, so for you listening right now, let's try a quick practice, a little experiment. We've pulled some strong starter phrases from the sources. Try saying them out loud. Feel how they sound.
Yeah, get a feel for them.
Okay, first one. I believe this is the best approach because...
Feel that conviction. Okay, how about drawing on your own background? From my experience, what works best is...
Nice. Or to guide the conversation. Let's focus on the outcome we want.
It keeps things on track. And if you need to suggest something, strongly but politely, here's what I'd like to propose.
Good one. And finally, for clarity, we need to be clear about our priorities.
Just saying them out loud helps, doesn't it? Practice them. Let them sink in. The more you use them, the more they just become your natural way of speaking.
Yeah, they stop feeling like lines you learned and just feel like you.
Exactly. Your authentic voice.
Okay, so let's wrap up and pull together the main threads from this deep dive. What are the absolute must-remembers?
Well, first, definitely use strong, clear language. Be direct in your meaning. But, and this is big, but consciously watch your tone. Avoid harshness.
Always be aware of that tone.
Yeah.
And related to that, think about the actual phrases you're choosing. Are they hitting that sweet spot?
Right. Do they convey respect and leadership? It's not either. That's the tightrope walk. How you frame it is key.
And don't forget the nonverbals. Practicing your body language, your tone modulation, it's just as important as the words. Maybe more so sometimes.
They're absolutely intertwined with how your message lands, how much influence you actually have.
So the big picture principle here, what is it?
I think it boils down to this. Aim to speak like a partner, not a dictator. The goal is to lead, guide, influence, not to dominate. And honestly, when you find that balance, that mix of confidence and genuine kindness or respect, that's when people really listen. That's when your influence actually grows.
That's powerful. So here's something for you to think about as you go about your week. How can these tweaks, maybe small ones at first in your words, your tone, your body language, how can they fundamentally change how people see you?
Yeah, how can they shift your effectiveness? Not just at work, but really in any conversation where you want to be heard and respected.
That's worth considering.
And maybe, as a next step on this journey, you might think about how this applies when the stakes are even higher.
Ooh, like what?
Well, perhaps a future deep dive could explore something like how to handle English conversations with senior executives without freezing.
I think a lot of people would appreciate that one.
Probably.
But for now, just focus on this week. What's one small shift, one experiment you can try to speak with just a bit more authority and a little less accidental aggression?
Give it some thought. Try something out. See what happens.